my god, do you have any idea how good this is? Oh my god, let's talk about it!
Hey guys and dolls, welcome back. It's me, Cora. Today I'm going to be bringing back our product favorites video, and I'm not calling them monthly faves because I kind of want to have a discussion with you guys about how I want to restructure these. So as you guys know, monthly faves is a thing here in the YouTube beauty community. A lot of people do them, but I decided a while ago that I wanted to do less monthly faves and focus more on sharing curated collections of things I really love in a single category. So for instance, I could potentially do a video where I show all of my favorite beauty tools, or maybe one about makeup brushes or like eye brushes, my favorite contour products, my favorite, concealers, or whatever it is. A little bit more curated and a little bit more focused on a single genre of product, and that's something that I want to do going forward. And then a couple of times a year I want to do one of these blowout favorites where I talk about, like, instead of doing a monthly favorites, just do it a couple times a year. I just feel like that might be something that we would all be more interested in as opposed to just June favorites, which is just like, all the shit I tried in June and liked. This isn't to diss anyone who does monthly favorites. I've done them in the past. I enjoyed them. It's just that for me personally, I find that a lot of favorites videos end up being kind of a dump for sponsored content. I want to be very clear, I don't have a problem with sponsored content in the least. I think that as long as it's done ethically and it's things that you genuinely like, I think that sponsored content is a fantastic way to make money on YouTube. It just kind of boils down to whether or not you trust that particular YouTuber. However, for my favorites videos, I don't want any of it to be sponsored anymore. And again, this is nothing about anyone else's channel. This is all about me. I've done sponsored content in a favorites video before, and even though I genuinely love that product, I just don't want there to even be a question about it in my favorites video. I don't even want it to be like an ethical concern where anybody else is saying, well, she's being paid. My favorites are just going to be products that I'm talking about. Now, some of these products will have been PR samples because I'm not gonna lie, and I don't mean to brag, but a lot of products come into my life via PR. It's great because it means I don't have to go out and buy them, and I have more products to talk to you guys about, and I have more products to try. A lot more things get sent to me that ever make it to YouTube because I genuinely just want to show you guys the best of the best or warn you about something that isn't so great. So that's kind of what I'm going to be doing going forward with these favorites videos. I hope that you guys are on board for that. With all of that said, let's go ahead and get started with some favorites. So the first thing that I want to talk about is some mascara. Now, last year when I was doing the monthly favorites, I had my mascara of the month, which was awesome, and a bunch of you have asked if I'm going to pick that up. Since I'm not going to be doing monthly favorites, I'm going to say no. The other thing is, because I tried so many mascaras last year, I actually found my favorite tubing mascara, and I don't really find a need to keep it going. My current favorite tubing mascara is from Blink. This is the Mascara Amplified. The Blink formula is that super traditional tubing style where it doesn't smudge, doesn't flake, blah blah blah. It's amazing. I love it, and the only caveat is that the original Blink is the brush sucks. It basically doesn't give you volume, it doesn't give you length, it just makes your lashes waterproof, and that's about it. The amplified version has this big thick brush which delivers quite a bit of volume and a bit of length as well, so it's a good natural looking mascara. You can build it up and make it look volumizing. In fact, for once in my life, I'm not wearing false lashes, I'm just wearing mascara and I'm wearing this. So it does give you enough volume that you can kind of carry it off. But when I really want like great volume, great definition, all that kind of stuff, I reach for another mascara, which is not a tubing mascara. This is the Makeup Forever. I'm sorry, I didn't tell you how much it costs. Hello, I wrote all these notes for nothing. Blink Mascara Amplified is $26 for 0.23 ounces, which is a very standard amount of mascara. It also comes in two colors, both black and brown. So when I'm reaching for a more traditional type mascara, I actually have quite a few on hand right now that I like a lot. This is the Makeup Forever Smoky Stretch, Smoky Stretch. This is a fantastic mascara in terms of definition, volume, a little bit of length. It's very simple and it doesn't smudge on me really fast, whereas most traditional mascaras smudge on me in about 3 seconds. This mascara is $23 for 0.23 ounces, so again, a standard amount of mascara, and this comes in a whopping 5 colors, which most mascaras don't come in that many colors, so it's kind of exciting. You got your black, you got your brown, you got green, blue, and purple. Love this, and I'm actually interested to try out some of those other colors and see how vivid they are. I just haven't gotten around to checking them out yet. So my next favorite is something that is like a super favorite. Like, gather round, ye little children, and let's talk about some lipsticks. So this is the Amuse Bouche line of lipsticks from Bite Beauty, which is a brand that I already freaking love. They make all of their products with food grade ingredients, so when the zombie apocalypse comes, I can actually eat my lipstick for dessert. Which will be weird because there'll probably be other things that would be a better dessert, but I'm just saying I could. This is $26 for 0.15 ounces, and these lipsticks are just so incredibly creamy and beautiful, and the shade selection, again, is fabulous. Like the decisions, I mean, you gotta figure when these companies are coming up with colors, decisions are made, and sometimes like all the colors are just, they don't appeal to you, and sometimes you're like, holy crap, gorgeous, yes. So I started out with Fig. I think about this during like the VIB sale, and I was like, oh, I mean, obviously I've been using the crap out of this lipstick. I love it. I'm currently wearing it. Just the perfect pink. It's not too nude. It's not too brown. It's not too pink. It's like Goldilocks of lipstick. I was like, all right, I need more. So I went back and I was going to get the beetroot one, but I decided to go with radish because this sort of magenta red hybrid color is my favorite to wear on like an everyday kind of basis. I tend to wear red lipstick less than I used to, and I don't know, I'll probably swing right back to being obsessed with red lipstick any day now. But in the meantime, this has been my peanut butter and jam. Love it. Again, you can see I've used this a ton. I've only had these lipsticks for like a couple months, but like I can't stop myself from putting them on. I've almost completely abandoned my liquid lipstick obsession because this is just so much better for my lips. I tend to have very dry lips that crack easy. Is just the genetic thing. My brother has the exact same lip texture, so I know it's not anything I'm doing. It's a genetic thing that we're just prone to like lip splits and cracking, and it's gross, and let's not talk about that anymore. So they came out with a new line of that line. Like they came out with limited, I think they're limited. They might be permanent. I don't really know. I don't really know what I'm talking about here. I just talk about lipstick on the internet. So they came out with new colors and new lipstick bullet shapes, which was kind of cool. Like these were already kind of fun, and then they came out with new shapes. I love it. So the first one that I picked up from the new line of the limited edition, or maybe not limited, the new colors, they have one called Kale. I love kale, so I was like, oh my god, a lipstick named after my salad. Yes, 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 let's do it. This is a really interesting color because most like fun colors of lipstick, and actually green is a super hot color right now for lipstick, but they're more like green, whereas this is more like, yeah, I'm green. French movie star green. It's sophisticated and weirdly flattering, and it's in this luxury texture. And it smells really good. So this is my favorite weird color of lipstick at the moment, and I love the name. I really, really do. The other one that I picked up is Taro, or Taro, depending on how you want to pronounce it. And this is like a grayed out purple. Very cool color of this, and I love that these all have different shaped caps and stuff. Another thing I want to just briefly mention about Bite Beauty, I recently found out that they have this thing called the Lipstick Lab in New York City, and it is my dream to go there. So you go and you like have a consultation with an artist that works for Bite Beauty, and you create your own lipstick. Do you understand? Like you pick the formula, like matte, creamy, you pick whether there's shimmer in it, you pick the flavor, you pick everything out about this lipstick. I mean, it's a totally customized lipstick. I think it's like $45, which to be honest, like a crazy good price to make a customized lipstick color. So it is literally my dream to go to New York and go do this now. Like I have something, like I've been wanting to go back to New York, but now I have like a goal in mind. Like I want to go to Bite Beauty and create a lipstick there. Okay, so now we're going to talk about some complexion products, and holy cow, do I have a lot of complexion products to talk to you guys about today. Oh my god. We're going to start with a concealer from Tarte. This is the Rainforest of the Sea Aqua Sealer. So this is a waterproof concealer. It's very, very pigmented without being like thick, so it has a nice thin consistency, which I really like. It covers amazing. It's not like super hydrating for the under eye, so if you don't have a good, moisturizer routine and everything on before you put this on, it can look a little bit on the dry side. But if you've got your skin all prepped and ready to go and you don't have super dry skin or crepey textured skin, this is a good concealer. Comes in about 6 shades, I think, so not like the most impressive shade range we've ever seen, but the shades are very naturalistic and great for the skin. There's no like weird kind of funky shades. I personally use the shade Light. Occasionally I will mix this in with a little bit of Fair just if I'm having a very pale day or something. This is a great concealer. I also want to talk about the amount that you get. You get 0.34 fluid ounces, which is a fair amount for concealer, and this is $26, which for a high-end concealer I think is a fair price. It's not great. Of course, we'd all want them to be like 15-20 bucks, right? But $26 in this day and age is pretty fair. I also just want to briefly compare it to my favorite one from Urban Decay, which is my other favorite concealer. This one you get 0.16 fluid ounces for $28. Now, as a companion product for that, I'm obsessed with this concealer brush, also from the Tarte range. This is the, I think it's like the Rainforest of the Sea Aqua Sealer brush or something. This is $24. These are synthetic hairs, so no animals were harmed in the making of this brush. Very soft brushes. They blend beautifully. They're just stiff enough to like really work the product around. The brush itself is absolutely magnificently beautiful. Thank you, Tarte, because these brushes are absolutely beautiful. This one right here is really great at blending out small areas, whereas this one is even good for contour. It's a little bit larger. The thing I like to do is do my concealer with this one, actually blending it on, and then I'll kind of finish up the blending with this, like almost like dry brushing it, and then I'll use this one for my powder afterwards, and it's like every single time it looks amazing. And I normally don't like brushes that are double-ended because I find them a pain to store them, but I don't even care with this. I don't even care that it's a double-ended brush. In fact, I kind of like that it's a double-ended brush because it, you know, they work together really well. So I just keep it in my concealer drawer. I just keep them together. They go together. They're buddies. They're hanging out in my drawer, doing their thing. Okay, so my next complexion product is from Urban Decay. This is the One and Done Hybrid Complexion Skin Perfector Broad Spectrum SPF 20. I really love the amount of product you get with this. It's 1.3 ounces for $34, so a very fair price for high-end brand. I love the tube that this comes in. I love anything with this kind of like squeezy tube. I don't know, just it does it for me. The simplicity of it, I guess. This also contains both a chemical sunscreen and a physical sunscreen, so I'm totally on board with this, although you shouldn't be getting all of your sunscreen from your foundation products, but we can talk about that more another time. Let's talk first about the things I love about this. I love that this is finally a tinted moisturizer for girls with oily skin. So many tinted moisturizers are like, oh my god, you can put it on, you don't even have to set it with powder. And then you put it on and it's like, oh, hi, Grease City. And sometimes that luminous look is what I'm going for. And I really don't have oily skin anymore now that I've learned a good skincare routine. By the way, if you haven't watched my skincare routine videos, I will have them linked below. I've really learned to balance out my skin. I don't want to sound like an infomercial for my own videos, but I've taken a lot of steps to help balance out my skin. But for my friends who do have oily skin, say hello to my little friend who's going to be your little friend. This has a true, honest to goodness, satin-like finish to it. It's not 100% matte. For me, matte is flat. It has like no shine, whereas this is like a slight glow to it, but that's what your skin naturally looks like, so this is actually quite good. The other thing I really like about this is it does a kick-ass job of really minimizing the appearance of pores. Like, oh, yes. Yes, quaint. Now, the only issue that I have with this is the shade range. There's only 6 colors, which is nowhere near enough to cover all the shade range. People with very light complexions and people with very dark complexions are being totally left out. I'm currently wearing the light shade, which is the lightest shade, and it's still a hint too dark for me. With all my lights and everything, you really can't tell that the color is slightly off, but in person, especially after like about 6 hours of wear, you can see that it's definitely not the same color as my skin. I'm excited for them to launch this in more colors so that my friends who are much paler than me and my friends who are much darker than me can also enjoy this really great tinted moisturizer that's finally for people with oily skin. You do not have to set this with powder. I personally choose to, especially when I'm filming and stuff, because I want to balance it out and make it match me as much as possible, but also because I just like powder and I think that it looks good, okay? It makes my complexion look pretty. So my personal favorite, and what I've been using for about 100 grillion years, MAC Mineralized Skin Finish Natural. And the shade that I'm using now is Light Plus. Ever since I had that really bad sunburn last year, and I just, oh gosh, that was so awful. My skin never completely went back to being totally pale. So now I'm using the Light Plus, especially when I'm filming, and it definitely balances me a bit better. I'm actually like going out and doing stuff. I'll use a combination of Light and Light Plus. I know most people are not going to buy 2 powders in 2 different colors just so that they match themselves, but I'm kind of OCD in that way. This contour palette palette was sent to me by It Cosmetics, and I was kind of like, oh, another contour palette. Oh my god, no, we're not doing it. I cracked it open and I was like, oh, those colors actually look quite nice. Each of these is a little bit more pink based than most contour palettes. Most of the colors in here I don't really use. I do use soft contour for contouring if I want something very light and not too, like, not harsh contour, which really most days, I mean, half the time I don't even contour anyway. I don't always contour, but when I do, I like it soft. What makes me love this palette so super hard are these two right here, the highlight shades. Holy cannoli with a cherry on top. It Cosmetics, I am literally begging you to come out with matte highlight and radiance highlight on their own, because I will buy the crap out of them. Now, all of these powders have a super silky texture. I mean, they're just like so finely milled. It's like, what is even life? It's so soft and buttery and lovely. But these highlights, though, we need to talk about. I am really into highlight that looks very natural, and occasionally I like my crazy stuff too. I mean, of course I do. But for like every day, I like it subtle, I like a glow, but I don't like a disco shimmer on my face. Matte highlight is like a pearl like texture where it gives your skin a glow, but it's not too obvious. I'm wearing it on my nose and on my chin, and neither one is Disco City. Radiance highlight gives you that dewy, glowy kind of highlight, and I'm wearing that on my cheeks. Again, it's still not like Disco Nights, but it has a nice glow. The other thing I really like about this is that there is a good range. They're not so starkly different because they really don't need to be like dramatically different contour colors, but there are colors that can work on most complexions, not on the very dark, but there is everything from the lightest shade to about the mid to dark range. The palette is $40 for 5.24 grams of product. I was reading off my notes. Yay! Also, I like the packaging on it. Like, overall, this is bomb. One of the main problems that I have with contour powder in general is that companies either add sparkle to it, which is just like, why? Why would you do that? Or they make it very matte, and then it's like, it looks kind of dry, and that's where you can get that dirty look. These are super silky and have a very naturalistic like skin texture to them. I love this palette. Love. Probably the most useful, my most favorite like powder contour palette that I own. So speaking of contour palettes, this next one is from Makeup Forever. This is the Pro Sculpting palette in the shade 20. This is $45 for 10 grams, and you can get this through the Makeup Forever website, but it's not available on the Sephora website. At least I couldn't find it. If it's there, it's like hiding, and it's like really good at playing hide and seek. Love this contour kit. Now it comes in 4 different colors, and in each kit you get this like shimmery highlighty color, and then like I would use this as blush, but this could also technically be used for color correction. And in the 2 lightest shades, they're identical, and then in the 2 darkest shades, these 2 are identical. So if you are a makeup artist and you're buying all of these, you're gonna have a lot of these, and for me they're less useful, so I kind of wish that you could just like just buy these. But I do use them. You can see they have been used. I've seen a lot of cream contours in my day. Generally speaking, I am not the world's biggest fan of cream contour, not because it's not a great tool, it really truly is, but because a lot of the time cream contours are like crazy pigmented. I'm like, dude, I didn't come for that much contour. For most general beauty makeup that you're going to do, you do not need it that intense. Now, if you're on a photo shoot, you need something that has more pigmentation because the camera flash and everything is going to drown it out, which also happens when I'm filming on YouTube. I really love this contour kit for 2 main reasons. The first is that the colors are pigmented enough, but they're not so pigmented that they're a nightmare to blend. That's my #1 issue with cream contours. I find that most of the time they're just too intense, and you just don't need them to be that intense. You need them to blend and meld in with the foundation colors. You want everything to look as natural and as un-makeup-y as possible, in my personal opinion, when you're doing contour. Now, sometimes you're going for that look. You're like, yes, sharp contour, yes, queen. Most of the time you're not. You want things to look soft and blended and perfect. Like, oh my god, she just accidentally woke up like this. So you don't need to have like contour on fleek every day. That's just my own personal opinion, both as a person and as a makeup artist. I think the contour thing's kind of hit a fever pitch. However, the texture of this blends well, and the color of it blends well with the skin. So the shade selection is great because it melds in with the skin so beautifully. And then the amount of pigmentation is just right. It's like Goldilocks. It perfectly blends in with your foundation. It looks beautiful, skin-like, almost a little cushiony. And I like both the highlighting like contour color and the contour shade itself. The two bottom ones I use less, so I could kind of do without them, but since they come in the kit, cool, I have them on hand for color correction or a shimmery highlight. If I am in the mood for a cream shimmer highlight, I've got it. This next item is a brush that I picked up at Ulta. I was just, you know, cruising the brushes, seeing what was new, and I saw this little guy staring at me, and I'm like, oh my god, that totally looks like that NARS brush. It's like 50 bucks that I've never bought, because every time I go in store and like look at it, the NARS brush, I'm just being totally honest, feels kind of rough. And well, it doesn't feel like super rough, but it feels a lot more, it doesn't feel as soft as a brush that costs that much should feel. We'll just leave it there. But this little brush from Japanesque was 20 bucks. So I said to myself, that brush was only like 20 bucks. Even if you don't like the way it feels, you'll still have that pretty brush to put on your vanity, and it's pretty. And if nothing else, this would be like a great like throw it in your bag kind of brush, and then when you pull it out, you're like So I went ahead and picked it up, and I'm pleasantly surprised with this. It's quite soft. It's amazing for wicking away fallout, applying blush, or just like a light dusting of powder. So yeah, I really like this, and for 20 bucks, you really can't go wrong. It's such a great dupe for the NARS brush. This is the Japanesque, I think it's called Kumadori brush. I'll go ahead and have a link to this in the description bar down below. It's just so beautiful, the way that it's constructed and everything. I've always wanted to own the NARS version. It's been completely quelled. I mean, this is perfect. It does exactly what I wanted the NARS version to do for about $30 less. So yay. So my next favorite is from Urban Decay. This is the eyeshadow primer potion in Enigma. This one has more of a color to it, so it's not clear like the original. It has a definite shade. If you like MAC's Painterly Paint Pot, but you find that it's just a little bit too deep for your skin, but you love how it's like a concealer and an eyeshadow base in one, give this a little whirly poo, because this one has an amazing amount of pigmentation, has that great texture to it, and it completely cancels out any redness, weirdness, veins, you know, freckles or anything on my on my eyelid. I was gonna say on my eyelashes. I'm sorry guys, I'm filming this late at night. I haven't filmed late at night in a really long time, and this is what happens. I get tired. I start saying crazy shit. So anyway, the other thing I really like about this primer is that 100% of the selling price actually goes to the Violet Edge, which is Urban Decay's charity organization. Fabulous cause, and also a really great primer. Genuinely love this stuff. I've been using it now since whenever it first came out a couple months ago, and I love it. I use it every single day. So the next favorite that I want to share with you guys is something I've only really had for a couple weeks. This is the Makeup Atelier Burnt Umber palette. I made a tutorial with this earlier this week, so I'll go ahead and have a link to my video in the description bar down below if you're interested. Now this palette is just perfect. I talked in that video about why I like it so much, but let me just repeat myself a little bit. I love the color gradient here. I love the textures. I love the textural choices that were made. Like for instance, these lighter colors are a little bit more satin-like, a little more creamy. These ones are more like velvet formula, where they're a matte that has like shimmer in it, but the shimmer doesn't really transfer to the lid so much. But they're not like hard matte either, like dry matte. They're like a luminous matte. And then this black here is like the silkiest eyeshadow I've ever touched. If you remember the MAC Volux texture, not Volux Pearl, but they used to have a texture called Volux, which was super silky and super soft, and like, oh my god, almost, I mean, it feels identical to that. A little bit on the powdery side, like you're gonna have a little fallout, you're gonna kick up a little extra when you're dipping your brush, and I don't care, because they perform so beautifully on the eyes. The quality, the blendability, like everything about this is just so perfectly makeup artistry, and it's $35 for this little quint. Fabulous price. I do plan on purchasing more of these once I can figure out which ones I want to pick up. I have the Smoke Variation palette as well, which I haven't even touched yet because I'm sort of like waiting. Do you know how that is? Like you have something, you're like, okay, I need to like devote full attention to you when I crack you open. You know what I mean? So this next product is something I picked up on a recommendation of two different YouTubers, Miss Rockabilly Ruby as well as a Vintage Vanity, who I am obsessed with both of them. And they both use this Kenra hot spray quite a lot, and they've sung its praises. And the thing that really kind of like perked my ears up, like, hello, what did you say that did? Was when one or the other, I can't remember which one of them said it, that this has something in it that actually helps it quick release from your hot tools. And I was like, what? Really? That sounds cool. I want to try that. So I hightailed it over to Ulta, picked up a bottle. First of all, I have to tell you guys how good this smells. It smells so good. I actually used this on set with Mode a couple of months ago when I was filming a hair tutorial with them, which I will also have linked in the description bar down below. And there were two female producers on set and they were both like, oh my god, what does that smell? That smells so good. Is that perfume? Like, they were losing their minds because it smells that good. This is like a 4-in-1 hair product I can't live without. So this actually has hold, it has style memory, it adds texture, it smells good. Wait, I already said that. It gives you that clean release from your hot tools and it gives you the thermal protection. So maybe that's 5 things. 6 things, I don't even care. It's freaking awesome. I love this. I highly recommend it. This is $20 for 8 ounces, so it's a super fair price to pay for such a fabulous product. I love this. It's my favorite. Thing to keep in mind, I don't like to use this, like spray it and then use it immediately because I don't like my hair to be wet when I use any kind of hot tool on it because that's just asking for your hair to sizzle and die. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're styling, to let this fully dry. Sometimes I'll even kind of blow dry it just to like, you know, dry it up, but it'll still give you that great thermal protection. Let me know what you guys want to see for the first curated collection. I am so excited to get those started. I don't know really what to do though. I'm like, do I talk about my favorite makeup brushes? Do I talk about my favorite makeup palettes? Do I do highlighters? Do I do tools? I don't know. You guys let me know what you want to see in the comment section down below, and that's it. Have a great day, and I'll see you in my next video. Remember to be vintage or tacky? Just be your own kind of beautiful.